Good day all. I hope you're safe and sound. Today is my 24th lecture, which I'm taking this opportunity to basically change into what I was trying to teach earlier. I've already taught in past the hydrodynamics, the ship handling, the various maneuvers. Today, as I see, though I'm still a sailing master, and a few days ago what happened to the Ever Given vessel of the liner vessel which got stuck in Suez, which gave me some sort of food for thought, that why should I also not start working on the past incident investigation reports. Of course, I'm not here to give any verdict on them, but all I'm trying to basically depict or explain the departure of the few basic things which have led to not only the collisions but catastrophic scenarios, and few of the basic things which we mariners must exercise. One, of course, first and foremost, exercise due diligence and prudence towards the safety of navigation. Number one, that is what I said. Number two, the strict compliance of ROR. Number three, the optimization of all navigational equipment, including the communication equipment as deemed necessary. And last but not the least, the practical knowledge of seamanship. When we homogenize all these ingredients, this, trust me, helps us not only from a navigation perspective, but also helps us in our regular day-to-day routine based thing which we carry out on board the vessel. Therefore, this particular case which I have picked up is dated 21st March 2019. This accident took place on 21st March 2019 in Tokyo Bay off Yokohama at Yankee Lima 4 anchorage. I will go with the details of this particular accident report which has been published by the Japanese Maritime Authority and the MAIB. So I will just go in a nutshell to go with the facts, what actually was there, and then on this board we will talk about at length. We are not here to go with the fault finding missions, but we are here to try to evaluate what could have been done to basically avoid this kind of a disaster or catastrophe. Therefore, the Marine Accident Investigation Report states there were 3 vessels involved. The first vessel was a container vessel by the name APL Guam. The second vessel was Marclef, and the third vessel, which was a tanker, is Hansa Steinberg. Now, if I scroll down further on the same report, I'm scrolling down further on the same report. I'll show you once I come on the screen, where the accident has been depicted. We'll talk about it at length on that aspect. I'm still scrolling down. This is just a small view which says that the APL Guam was northbound and Marclef was southeast bound, outbound from Yokohama port. This is the place where the collision took place, and this is the vessel Charlie, which is Hansa Steinberg. Now we go down further onto the same report. And what we see as it comes up, just a minute. All the video data, I'm not going into it. I'm just going to simplify this lecture to explain what actually had gone wrong and what could have been done in future to avoid these kind of accidents. Now if we see here, the vessel A, which departed from Yokohama, and the vessel B, sorry, my apology, the vessel B departed from Yokohama and vessel A was coming up. Everything has been depicted on the board, but this is just to give you a recap what actually happened and where it happened. And this incident took place in the vicinity of Wild 4, Yankee Lima 4 anchorage. This is the vessel Charlie which was anchored. So I'll now switch over to my sweet little boat and we talk about this. This particular incident took place in Tokyo Bay when this vessel was departing from Yokohama, southeast bound. This vessel was coming up from seaside bound towards the bay. The vessel A is northbound, that is this one. Vessel B, southeast bound, she is outbound, she is inbound. Vessel A has pilot on board, vessel B does not have a pilot on board. And vessel C, that is the Hansa Steinberg, she is anchored over here at Wild 4 anchorage. This is the periphery of that Yankee Lima 4 anchorage. Now, as I said earlier, vessel which is inbound has the pilot on board and vessel B is without pilot. So, the first thing which could have happened, I will go in a systematic manner to explain. Vessel B southeast bound, vessel A northbound. Now the thing is that when she's coming up over here, the pilot on board, as per the report, is 72-year-old pilot and with fairly experienced master on board. There was no communication carried out between these two vessels as to which side they want to pass. A normal rule which states that when a vessel is passing through a narrow channel or a fairway channel, she should keep to the starboard side of the channel. Now, the vessel A, which had the pilot on board, was under this perception that yes, we will keep the vessel on the starboard side of the channel and we will pass this vessel port to port. However, the outbound vessel which did not have pilot had a different perception. She was under the impression that she will pass starboard to starboard. Now, neither one of them knew what is the action which will be taken by the other vessel. Therefore, and furthermore, no communication or VHF communication was carried out between both the vessels to ascertain the intention of another vessel. Now, few things which we must remember, that is, before we come to this kind of situation, we try and avoid crossing or passing the vessels, especially the southeast bound vessel and northbound vessel at anchorage. Why? Because there are other vessels also anchored. There might be lots of constraints because of fishing traffic and maybe some other obstructions which normally are there in the coastal water when we traverse. So, taking those things into account, I think if I ask about myself what I would have done, if I'm on board this vessel, I would have delayed entering into this anchorage till such time this vessel is finally passed and clear. Be it port or starboard side, that could have been ascertained with the VHF. Why? Because what I would have done, that I would have reduced my speed, slow steaming as applicable as per the prevailing circumstances, weather constraints, taking all those things into account. I would rather prefer to stay in the open waters before I could enter into a designated anchorage. Number one. Number two, if there was a way, maybe the route might have been longer, I would have avoided passing through the anchorage, or I would have passed through the outer periphery of anchorage, keeping well clear of the anchored vessel. Therefore, I will stick to the option number one, which I said earlier, that what I would have done, or what normally could have been done. I understand now this vessel, the red color marked vessel A, had Pilot on board. The speed could have been reduced, or the vessel could have adjusted the speed, that the point of intersection which was coming between these two vessels could have been delayed. In other words, by such time the vessel, the blue color mark vessel, or the vessel B, is clearing the anchorage. That's the time the speed should have been adjusted, so you don't come into this kind of a claustrophobic thing where you are in a closed water. One is with the north and south head-on situation. Secondly, through the with the anchored vessel. Therefore, I've jotted down few points. First thing is, no prior assessment of point of intersection was taken into consideration. Yes, as I said earlier, if this point of intersection could have been delayed over here, that is, let this vessel speed up, the outbound vessel speed up, and inbound vessel slows down her speed, so the point of intersection is way beyond or south of the anchorage area. Number two, the mantra of safe speed, or rule number 6, which can be construed as far as it's applicable, taking into consideration the current, the weather, the wind constraints into account. The slow speed control can be exercised, of course. This is at the jurisdiction of the master. At the jurisdiction of the master, the slow speed control should be exercised, so that in this particular case, this inbound vessel could have used this slow speed control tool to ensure that the point of intersection is beyond or out of the marked anchorage area. Therefore, both the vessels had enough sea room to maneuver and stay clear of each other and keep clear of the close quarter situation. Now we go step by step. Vessel A and B should have been in the constant communication, which I said earlier, with the VHF communication, which was not the case. Slow speed control, we just talked about it. Extra precaution during critical passage. Of course, critical, this is the kind of critical passage when you're passing through the anchorage. Avoid passing ahead of anchored vessel. Now what happens? When I say we must avoid passing ahead of anchored vessel, if the vessel is heading this way, that means she's stemming the tide and the current is pushing you this side. So in this particular case, this vessel, which is northbound, was getting drawn towards the stem of the anchored vessel. Same thing is over here. You must always try and avoid passing astern of the anchored vessel. Then complete appraisal of the prevailing weather thing which we talked about, emergency contingency planning, and few things which, now I have talked about all the scenarios, but probably I want to brief you what actually happened. This vessel was coming down southeast, outbound. This is the vessel which is coming northbound. There was no communication, and finally they collided because this vessel B was under perception that she will pass vessel A on starboard to starboard, whereas as vessel A was under perception she'll pass vessel B with port to port. So what happened? Vessel A is coming like this. She was thinking that she will pass port to port, so she had altered her course more to her starboard. And this vessel, which is southbound, she was under perception that she will be all passing starboard to starboard. So both swung like this, and then they came closer, banged each other. Finally, this vessel, the one which is anchored vessel, the Hansa Steinberg, got collided with vessel B, and end result was, with the impact, this vessel A, got impact or started drifting towards this vessel, that is vessel D. Though she did not collide with her, but she went pretty close to this one. So when I talk about this particular thing, that yes, the approach should be such that all the critical maneuvers should be carried out as far as practicable outside the anchorage, outside the restricted water, where you have more sea room to maneuver. And talking about the master's overriding authority, even whilst the pilot on board, that is, as per this particular report, the master, the pilot, the Japanese pilot, was 72-year-old pilot who had quite substantial experience piloting the vessel in Tokyo Bay, to and fro to all the ports in the Tokyo Bay. So master was probably a bit complacent about the pilot, because he was a senior pilot, and master did not question the pilot and or his action. End result is what happened. So I've just explained you in very brief, short and brief. Please do come back to me and ask me how and what more things you would want me to share with you. Thank you. Good day. Goodbye.